everyone, Cole Karski here with another edition of Setup Sundays. This Sunday I'm going to talk about Deadstick presentations. Now what I have set up right at the moment is for walleyes, but this applies to me as well for crappies. Just downsize a little bit on the lures is be the only real change I make out of this. So I have my Deadstick as a Della Bay tip dip. This one is a 36 inch, and as you can see, it's got a very light, sensitive tip, but it gets into some great backbone to fight those big fish, keep them pinned. It's an overall amazing rod for that. I love it. I also hole hop a little bit with it for panfish because it is a longer rod and it's got that light tip. So this is a do-it-all for me. It's on the ice every time I go out. And when I'm running a Deadstick, I prefer to run no bobber in most situations. This is where if it's sitting next to me in a shack, in a permanent house, or it's right around me, very close to me outside and I can watch the tip, I run no bobber. I still run a slip knot, so that way you don't have to have a Vex every single time or a Markham or a Garmin, whatever your unit is, next to you when you put it back down. You're able to keep your mark, and it's just, to me, it's a little faster, a little smoother. It's what I've done always. And I have on both Deadsticks 5-pound fishing line, LYN, mono. I like the mono because you get a little more forgiveness, and it's just very workable because sometimes you're in the most finesse looks that you have on a Deadstick rod. Some of the lightest stuff you're doing is on a Deadstick rod, so I prefer the mono just for the manageability of it, and I like the 5-pound because, like I said, I can hole hop for panfish, or it handles just about all the walleye situations I encounter most of the time. Now what's hooked up on this one is a horizontal hanging jig. This one is a Euro Tackle tungsten soft lock. They come in a variety of sizes, so I can get something that works for crappies all the way up to walleye. Those are the two main species I'll lay a Deadstick out for. And if I am doing a horizontal hanging look, I'll hook the minnow through the lips. If I'm doing a vertical hanging look, which would be on a plain minnow or a plain hook, dorsal fin, or if I'm doing a vertical hanging jig, I'll hook it through the dorsal fin, which is plain hooks. Some styles of jigs that are vertical hanging I have. Some from Slayer that I like, some from, I think they're called World's Best Jigs. I find them every year at the Duluth show, and I always restock. And plain hooks. Horizontal hanging hooks, I have some from Slayer. I really like the Euro Tackle soft lock tungstens. Those I lip hook the minnow so they can swim. Now, I'm gonna go to kind of the one different time of my Deadstick where I actually prefer a bobber. And that's what I'm using on a finicky fooler. I love the finicky fooler because you can get a very light bite. You can fish a tip up for crappies and not have any issues. Now you may think this is a little counterintuitive to have a bobber on a finicky fooler, but I did a lot of testing of this and I kept getting what I thought were false flags, but I really don't think they were. What was happening is I was running it with no bobber like I normally do. And so when the crappie would pull on the plain hook, the small hook I was using with the minnow, it would release the fooler, and because it's a plain small hook, I had some weights. And it would drop down, and I think it was dropping past the crappie, and the crappie was feeling that drop, and the hook would move in its mouth, and it would spit it. And then there's nothing there. So then I had a bobber. I put a bobber on there. So that way when it pulls the bobber down, the bobber is stopping the resistance, because there's a bobber stop at the top from your weights just falling down. So let's take a look at how quick and easy it is to set off this finicky fooler. And my presentation drops straight to the floor. So that's where I think a bobber really shines for me and how I fish. This setup is a tip dip as well. This one is actually a 34-inch. Della Bay does some customs where you can get custom lengths and custom wraps. This one's got a sweet Carolina blue kept with their orange. It's a great looking stick. Both of them have Samar. They have the Samar bait feeders. These are both the 500 size, and they're held on by the cold snap bands just like everything else. And this one is a Slayer jig. It's what I happen to have on. A lot of times if I'm doing this for companies, I'll just do a small plain colored hook. But this tip dip keeps all the same principles. Very light tip and amazing backbone. And I have it on the bait feeder reel because when I do have it sitting next to me or right near me, I like to be able to watch the tip, but then when it gets to a point, it pulls out on the bait feeder. So that way if you happen to have a pike come and slam it, you're not having a rod double over and go down the hole. I've had that happen. I think a lot of people have. It's tough to watch the rod just go by. So this is Cole, Setup Sundays. Have any questions on any of this, please get a hold of me. Deadsticks, they put a ton of fish on the ice for me every year. A lot of times you'll be ripping a really aggressive lure in a house and the walleye will come up, investigate your aggressive lure, and go get the minnow just sitting right there. So Cole Karski with Setup Sundays. Have good, safe holidays everyone. Tight lines.